I want to play dice. Who will be my opponent?
They fell your way last time. You'll play.
No one to rob here. Fucking boring. I just want to eat and sleep and fuck. Losing, robbing, fucking whoring, boozing. Take the women, burn the village. Drink, annihilate, and pillage. Burning, wrecking, making strife. How sweet it is, a robber's life. So tired. Yeah, I'm gonna get soaked.
I just want to eat and sleep. And fuck.
Killing, fighting, never losing, robbing, fucking whores and boozing. Take the women, burn the village, drink, annihilate and pillage. Burning, wrecking, making strife. How sweet it is, a robber's life. I'm gonna get soaked. What else is there to do here? Camp life sure ain't easy. Fuck. Fucking lice. Fucking fleas.
Like it's the first time you got them. You're used to itching by now.
I'll never get used to this.
Try washing yourself once in a while.
My granddad brother drowned bathed in a pond.
What a shit.
I'm not taking the risk. I only watch when it's raining.
Women away with a stick.
You bet. They can smell it through, man. Filth and stink everywhere. Should have stayed home.
Filth and stink everywhere. Should have stayed home. Killing, fighting, never losing, robbing, fucking whores and boozing. Take the women, burn the village, drink, annihilate and pillage. I'm so hungry, I could eat my boots.
What did you used to do before all this?
You wouldn't believe me.
Well, I was a sentry at Ratai, but they paid chicken feed, so I joined up with this lot instead.
You? A century? You're having me on.
No, it's true.
Camp life
Well,
sure
now
ain't
it's your
easy.
turn. What did you do before?
Boy, I made candles for a monastery.
What? You hear that, lads? He made candles so the monks could shove them up their arses.
I gotta piss. Camp life sure ain't easy. Fuck. What is it?
Deceive you now.
I want to play dice.
They fell your way last time. You'll play against Maladota. He's a bit... well... you'll see for yourself.
Camp life sure ain't easy. What did you used to do before all this?
You wouldn't believe me.
Well, I was a sentry at Rahat, but they paid chicken feed, so I joined up with this lot instead.
You? Essentially? You're having me on.
No, it's true. So now it's your turn. What did you do before?
Well, I made candles for a monastery.
What? Did you hear that, lads? He made candles so the monks could shove them up their arses.
Rivers of blood and a bloody flood.
Filth, stink everywhere. Should have stayed home.
Killing, fighting, never losing, robbing, fucking whores and boozing. Take the women, burn the village. Drink, annihilate and pillage. Burning, wrecking, making strife. How sweet it is, a robber's life. Fucking weather, fucking tents, fucking camp. I've had enough of this shit.
Don't want to rob it. Fucking boring.
Filth and stink everywhere. Should have stayed home.
No one to rob here. Fucking boring.
Camp life sure ain't
What's he doing here?
Filth, stink everywhere. Should have stayed home.
Almost sober again.
just wanna eat. Fuck.
Yeah, I'm gonna get soaked. What else is there to do here?
I'm so hungry I can eat my boots.
No one to rob here. Fucking
Killing, fighting, never losing, robbing, fucking whores and boozing. Take the women, burn the village, drink, annihilate and pillage. Burning, wrecking, making strife. How sweet it is, a robber's life. I gotta piss. sober again.
Camp life sure ain't easy. Fuck.
Killing, fighting, never losing, robbing fucking whores and boozing. Takes the women, burn the village, drink, annihilates and pillage. Burning, wrecking, making strife, how sweet it is a robber's life.
Camp life sure ain't easy. Fuck.
I've got a pick.
Killing, fighting, never losing, robbing fucking whores and boozing. Takes the women, burn the village, drink, annihilates and pillage. Burning, wrecking, making strife, how sweet. Killing, fighting, never losing, robbing fucking whores and boozing. Take the women, burn the village, drink, annihilates and pillage. Burning, wrecking,
Killing,
making strife, how sweet.
fighting, never losing, robbing, fucking whores and boozing. Take the women, burn the village, drink, annihilate and pillage. Burning, wrecking,
Why
making
doesn't he go
strife.
away?
How sweet is the robber's life? Yeah, I'm gonna get so
Tense fucking.
I want to play.
They fell your way. Then there's Pekuna. He's a local fellow who brings stuff for us. He put up a nice necklace as his wager.
I gotta miss.
Can't drink no more today. I'm so hungry I can like Yeah, I'm gonna get soaked. What else is
What
there
a
to do?
shitty day. I need a good scrap to cheer me up. Killing, fighting, never losing, robbing, fucking whores and boozing. Take the women, burn the village, drink, annihilate and pillage. Burning, wrecking, making strife. How sweet it is, a robber's life.
I just want to eat, sleep, and fuck.
Is he here again?
No one to rob here. Fucking boring.
What a shitty day. I can't like sure. I'm so tired. What a shitty day. I got a piss crap to cheer me up.
How did I do? Have I won?
Well now, Sir Alphonse, you took 'em all by storm. Here's the key to the prize.
Thank you kindly.
Camp life sure ain't easy. Fuck.
The chief doesn't want to see you.
No one to rob here. Fucking boring.
The chief doesn't want to see you.
shady.
The blessing of our Lord Jesus Christ upon you, Baron Lžec. I'm honored to make your acquaintance.
The pleasure is mine, sir. We haven't had any interesting visitors here for a long time, and I'm keen to hear what news you bring. And then there's the matter of our trade.
Indeed, we certainly have much to discuss, sir.
Good. And how was your journey, Sir Alphonse?
Long and somewhat fatiguing, truth be told.
Ah, would you rather put off our talks until later?
I must apologise, Sir Erhard. I'm quite besotted by your splendid dice tournament, and I can't think of anything else. I fear I'll be of no use to you until it's finished.
I heard you had a fondness for the game, Sir Alphonse. All right. Far be it for me to spoil your pleasure. We'll talk later.
I'm ready to begin with our negotiations, sir.
From what I've heard, you have some proposal for me that would involve departing from Vlashim?
Yes, essentially. We need to divert attention elsewhere. To pilgrims.
Yes, why not? It's a reasonable journey and a rich town. And who are we to devote our attention to?
Merchant wagons.
Of course. How better to put the fear of God in the townsmen than to relieve them of their silver? Do you want us to conduct our business on any particular road?
Rivers of blood and of blood.
The road to Vlashim.
That's what we've been doing the whole time. You can pay me for it right away. And what's in it for us? If terrorizing folk is what you want, there might not be much profit in it.
I can offer up to 24,000 groschen.
My word! That's a very generous amount. I'd be mad to refuse it. And that's everything?
I can also offer you a safe hideout, if you should have need of it.
Well, it's always useful to have somewhere to lie low. Where is it?
In Pilgrims. A nice house you can use for a month or two.
It's not that far, but I like the sound of it. That's all acceptable. I agree then. Now we've settled our business, you can go and rest. We'll talk later when you feel up to it.
Thank you, Sir Erhard.
I need a good scrap to cheer me up.
Stop that! Hey! Fuck! A thief!
Where could that be? It must be here somewhere. So it was you son of a bitch. Is that the best you can do?
You'll pay for that.
Got you, dog! You should be sorry for shooting. You'll get one. Done! I'll slaughter you. God, we get the knees
What's
of you!
that?
You call that combat?
They ought to shoot that door dead, young deep shit. Try this!
Where did he vanish? What's that all over gone?
Come here, dilly liver.
Come on. Boy, yeah!
Is that the best you can do?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Greetings. What business have you?
I've got that necklace.
Excellent news! I'm not going to ask you how you did it. Here's a reward for you. Now you can carry on with your next task. I want you to sneak the jewellery into Carolina's trunk along with this letter.
Can't I just hand them to her?
You cannot! Under no circumstances must she find out who sent them. Otherwise the whole secret admirer ploy is fucked. Oh, and by the way, Henry, watch out for the butcher. He keeps a very close eye on his daughter, and if he catches you sniffing around, well, may all the saints preserve you. Once you've delivered the things, wait a day, and then come back and see me.
See you later.
Yeah.
Has something happened?
Hey, hey! What the hell do you think you're doing? If you don't clear off quick... What are you doing here?
No sign of it. God knows what it was.
It came from a...
Someone there.
Yeah.
I have it all.
Greetings. What do you need?
I delivered the things as you asked.
I already know. My spies told me everything. She was wearing the necklace this morning as I asked in the letter.
So you'll go to the rendezvous with her?
Certainly not. I'm not going to pounce on her like a bull in rutting season. Her feelings must be allowed to mature gradually. Meanwhile, you'll get a potion for me.
I thought you didn't believe in witches' brews.
This is no witch's brew. It's an absolutely tried and tested elixir called Musk of Infinite Allure. There's a fellow in Sasau who sells it, and he guarantees its success.
Musk of infinite allure? Sounds irresistible. All right, I'll try and get it for you.
I'm sure I can rely on you. Here's some coin for your costs. Take care.
Well, well, who have we here?
Ah, the prodigal son returns. I knew you'd come back to me one day.
Let me guess, you saw it in a dream?
I knew you were going to say that.
But I had a divine revelation. That next time I won't be around to pull you out of the shit.
Oh, well, I am sorry. But these things are sent to try our fortitude in the face of adversity.
I'd like to try your fortitude. I've heard you know of some irresistibility potion or whatever it is.
Ah, naturally, musk of infinite allure, an age-old recipe, maybe even older, tested by Moses himself.
Moses?
How do you think he managed to get his people to follow him through the desert for 40 years? It's extremely potent.
Yeah, so it would seem. How much do you want for it?
Who do you take me for? The wisdom of the ancients isn't something that's bought and sold in the marketplace. Did Jesus charge for his miracles? But since you ask, how about this much?
What? That much? You're a crook.
As King Solomon said, honesty is for those who can afford it. If you like, I can mix the elixir for you in exchange for a small favor.
Oh, not again.
Now, is that any tone to use with your master? For shame.
Apologies, master. I was carried away by my thirst for knowledge.
I understand your impatience, but the way to wisdom is narrow and arduous.
And leads out the window. So what is it you want from me now?
Ah, my dear apprentice, everything's gone to the devil. I'm living from hand to mouth, sleeping on straw, and the local peasants won't buy from me. They say they don't trust me, as if I were some kind of charlatan. Can you believe it? Does this look to you like the face of a swindler? I'm an honest trader in sacred goods, whose only concern is the welfare of troubled souls.
A regular Good Samaritan.
And any time now the slanderous gossip will spread here from Sassau. I should leave before things get worse. But I can't go anywhere until I've made a bit of coin. So what's needed is to give the locals a bit of encouragement, to open their hearts and purses.
Sure. Kick 'em onto the path of righteousness.
What do you take me for? I wouldn't hurt a fly. Violence is for the dull-witted. We must gently demonstrate to them the necessity of buying my remedies. For example, to ward off a revenant.
Revenant? What revenant?
The dead return from the grave, a corpse that the soul is unable to depart from, which wanders among the living, filled with rage at its wretched fate.
Yeah, I saw something like that once. But it was just some drunk going home from the tavern after losing all his money at dice.
Don't make light of such things. Now tell me, do you know how to deal with a revenant?
Garlic and a crucifix should be enough, right?
Those are things everyone should have. to repel malign spirits and other evils. You are my trained apprentice, but the ignorant villager is entirely at a loss how to deal with such dark forces. It is our sacred duty to prepare them for such threats.
And how do you propose to do that?
Well, they're all doubting Thomases. They need proof. We'll need a grave, an empty grave that we can use. There's one along the way to Sasau, but it's got one minor shortcoming.
What's that?
Well, it's not entirely empty.
Not entirely? What does that mean?
You have to dig it up first.
Why this particular grave?
The locals don't like to talk about it, so it's surely got some sinister past behind it. And in places like that, revenants sprout up like mushrooms after rain.
Well, if that's how it is, we could open old wounds. That could easily set people against us. Again.
Then it would be best if no one could connect us to it, wouldn't it?
But that's a sin.
Refusing to help the needy is also a sin. I haven't had a decent meal for 40 days and 40 nights.
My conscience is clear where your stomach is concerned. Disturbing a grave is a grave sin.
The grave is not in hallowed ground, so that's hardly worth one Lord's Prayer in penance. I asked a priest once, just out of curiosity.
I'll have nothing to do with it. Give the job to someone with no human decency.
But you're my one and only apprentice. God be with you.
About that rest...
Yes.
Never mind.
As you...
What's this about the Revenant, then?
I knew you...
I'll need a spade, then.
Yes. Dig it up and remove the remains, leaving no trace.
And what am I to do with the remains?
Keep them. Human remains are always handy to have around.
Great. And how do we spread the word of this Revenant?
There's a gossip in every village. Here, too, a woman who'll spread news quicker than a dozen messengers on the fastest steeds.
And what am I to tell this gossip?
All you have to do is casually mention the empty grave, and before evening, I'll wager the whole village will know about it.
Where does this woman live?
The last house on the left, on the road to Sasau. She was the first person I met here, and by the time I reached the village green, I already had a mob looking suspiciously at me. The rumor-mongering fishwife.
And that's all?
Not quite. You should ask her who was buried there. So we've got a story to work with.
So, dig up the grave, talk to the gossip.
And the remains. Don't forget to remove them. Otherwise, no one will believe in the Revenant.
I might have known any task for Capon would turn into some insane escapade. Grave robbing. Jesus.
God be with you. Wine squeezed from grapes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. God be with you, good wife. Has something happened here?
Heavens no. It's quiet here, unlike some other places.
And what about that empty grave?
What empty grave would that be now?
The one beyond the village, alongside the road to Sasau. Just by the river, on the Pine Headland.
How would you know it's empty? Unless it was dug up.
Oh, it's dug up, all right. Freshly. And empty. I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
Lord in heaven, what in the name of...
How come it's not in hallowed ground, anyway? Only unrepentant sinners are buried like that. Usually.
I don't like to say. It's an old wound that's best forgotten.
Whose grave is it?
Well, once a long time ago there was a young charcoal burner living here with his wife. There was always a lot of charcoal burners here, but this fellow worked alone. That's not an easy job for one man.
No one wanted to work with him, or what?
Oh, he was a hard-headed fellow who always wanted to take care of his family himself.
Well, I can understand that. It's always better to work for yourself than break your back for someone else.
His wife was expecting, though no one knew it yet. He wasn't doing well at all. Soon enough, they had nothing to eat. And so he took to thieving.
Well, thieving is wrong.
Aye, but when there's a child on the way and your wife hasn't the strength to get out of bed for the hunger, well, you ought to think differently.
And did he get caught?
Well, at first it was just a few eggs going missing from people's hen coops. But then it was anything that wasn't nailed down. And in the end, they caught him.
And I suppose he was harshly punished for it.
Even then, he didn't let on why he was doing it. They whipped the skin off his back and banished him from Leditchko.
So justice was done then?
It wasn't enough for some folk. When the butcher found out he'd never get any compensation, he wanted them to chop off the charcoal burner's hands. If the bailiff hadn't talked sense into him, he'd have done it himself with his cleaver.
Well, he got off lightly enough then.
And in the end, he got what was coming to him, and more.
The butcher caught up with him?
No, no. It was the mills of God turning slowly but surely. His wife bled to death in childbirth, and the child died with her.
I'm sorry to hear that. But at least he knew they were gone to a better place.
True, lad.
Nothing could have been done to save them.
There was no one there. He had no one who would care for his wife. They say on that day, he parted ways with God forever. And he turned his back on the village too. I reckon he never forgave himself. Nor us, either.
The Lord moves in mysterious ways. But how did he end up?
Don't ask me that, lad. I beg you.
Come now, good wife. You can't leave the story unfinished.
I said no. Will you let it lie?
I know who was buried in that grave. A young charcoal burner.
So begins the tragic tale of the young charcoal burner who became entangled with the devil himself.
Oh, don't start. What devil? I'm trying to tell you. He was from Ledetchko. He was trying to eke out a living for himself and his wife, but he couldn't manage. When she fell pregnant, he took to stealing.
Pride drove him from the straight and narrow path, and soon he sold his soul to the devil to fill his stomach.
They caught him and punished him, but some of the people he'd robbed didn't think it was enough. Then when his wife died in childbirth, and the child too, he blamed everyone for it. Even God, apparently.
But when the time came to pay his debt to hell, the devil had no use for his soul and took his wife and child instead. The charcoal burner cursed God, who struck him down in righteous vengeance. But the dead man's soul never left his body. He came back as a revenant to vent his rage at God and men and take vengeance on the living.
Jesus, did you listen to what I said at all?
Sorry, did you say something?
Oh, never mind. What do you want me to do with it?
The question is, what would the revenant do to get revenge on the villagers? Well, apprentice?
The gossip mentioned the butcher. It seems he was infuriated that the charcoal burner's punishment was too lenient.
And the revenant spoiled their meat with his malign touch.
How's that?
Spoiled meat is a classic example of a revenant's power.
Huh. I thought it was the work of bad butchers.
That too, sometimes.
So, I should switch the good meat for bad at the butcher's. What about the butcher woman?
What about her?
Her conscience was troubled on account of her man, and she couldn't sleep. But I helped her, so she's found some peace.
So, no problem then.
What? I'm supposed to scare the wits out of her and start all over again?
All right, if you can find some other solution, you don't have to switch the meat. But I wouldn't worry about her. But make sure it's the same kind of meat. Not even a revenant will turn a cow into a chicken.
What about his wife and child? No doubt he'd want to avenge their death.
Well, how did they die?
In childbirth.
And when his love turned to rage, the water turned to blood. Nothing too original. But it's tried and tested. If you do it at the baths, everyone will hear of it.
How am I supposed to do that? It might be a bit suspicious if I'm seen walking around with a pail of blood.
No problem. There's a certain potion that will do the trick easily.
He cursed God. That's very serious.
What is it that most brings God to mind?
They don't have a church there. But everyone will have a rosary. I can't think of anything else.
That's it! If folks start losing their rosaries, they'll have sleepless nights over it.
You want me to steal rosaries? But that's...
Or just exchange them.
For what?
For nothing.
Great. He was stealing food from people, right? So, supposing he started again.
We should steal from people? Disgraceful. Have you no shame?
Maybe just a few eggs from hen coops, like the gossip mentioned.
Well, that wouldn't be too serious a sin. Will they put it down to the revenant, though?
They would, if I put some charcoal there instead.
And their nourishment he turned into ash. So, switch eggs for charcoal, switch the meat, color the water in the baths, and switch the rosaries. That ought to do it. I hope so. Of course, if you come up with anything else, don't let me hold you back. Talking to people might give you ideas. Traders, the bailiff.
But what if someone sees me in the act?
They mustn't. Otherwise, it'll end up like Sasau all over again. Don't draw attention to yourself, or they'll put two and two together.
Sure. I'll keep my head down. And how will I know if I've succeeded? I doubt it'll be announced on the market square.
I'll be the first to know. They'll come running to me for a remedy, like hens at feeding time. Off you go and raise hell.
But whatever he did, don't you think he deserves some peace?
Dear Henry, after all the poor wretch went through, I'd say he's beyond any peace.
Well, he certainly won't have any as long as I'm carrying his bones around with me.
Ah, but you know who those remains could help.
Help? Who? How?
Me, of course. And I'd pay you a nice price for a revenant's bones.
But there is no revenant.
Not yet. What do you say?
I think I'd rather bury them.
You could. But what a waste. Imagine the power they could have.
At least the poor wretch will have peace at last.
Maybe. As long as you bury him in hallowed ground. Otherwise, you're wasting your time.
Like in Ratai, maybe?
Well, that's probably the nearest. That gossip-mongering crone would know.
True, I could ask her.
If you must. But for heaven's sake, don't even hint to her what you're up to. See you later.
What's the recipe for that potion you were talking about?
You mean for coloring the water? Oh, well...
Well?
Pay close attention now.
I'm all ears.
How love turned to bloodshed. Once there was a knight who, though upright and noble-looking, had a prickly, unapproachable appearance. He fell in love with a fragile young maid, whom he saw with her sisters in a field, all wearing bright red wimples. But he was afraid his prickly exterior would frighten her. So he asked the advice of another knight, a pious and learned crusader, who carried the name of the patron saint of his order with pride. The pious knight told him he would arrange a rendezvous with the maid. All three would drink wine together by the river, and he would help his friend to get acquainted with her. This they did, but the maid fell in love instead with the pious knight. The stern knight was enraged and challenged his rival to a duel. The two fought long and fiercely, but they were equally matched, and so, in the end, they both fell mortally wounded, anguished at the tragedy her beauty had caused. The young maid took a dagger from one of the knights and plunged it into her own heart. Their bodies lay together on the ground, and the blood flowed from them into the river, turning the waters crimson.
I thought you were going to tell me the recipe, not some fable.
It is the recipe. I mean, the recipe is concealed in the story.
What on earth for?
So I don't forget it.
All right. So what does it mean?
I can't remember.
Great. So if you don't know, who does?
You'll figure it out, my loyal apprentice. I remember there are 3 plants in the story, but that's about all. But I know it was a simple recipe. It should be enough to grind the ingredients and brew them together for one turn. So, all you have to do is work out what the ingredients are from the story.
Sure. Why make things simple if you can complicate them? What about the
You still have...
No, you said to keep them. What do I do?
Oh!
What on earth for? Sorry.
May the Lord watch over you.
What's the rest?
Pay close.
I'm all ear.
How once there was a knight who, though upright and noble-looking, had a prickly, unapproachable appearance. He fell in love with a fragile young maid, whom he saw with her sisters in a field, all wearing bright red wimples. But he was afraid his prickly exterior would frighten her. So he asked the pious knight told him he would arrange a rendezvous with the maid. This they did, but the maid fell in love instead with the pious knight, anguished at the tragedy her beauty had caused. The young men, their bodies lay together on the ground, and the blood flowed from... Goodbye. Hosts baked in the temple of Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Greeting.
What's the rest?
Pay close.
I'm all ear.
How love once there was a knight who, though upright and noble looking, had a prickly, unapproachable appearance. But he was afraid his prickly exterior would frighten her. So he asked the advice of another knight. The pious knight told him he would arrange a rendezvous with the maid. This they did, but the maid fell in love instead with the pious knight. The stern knight was enraged, and anguished at the tragedy her beauty had caused. The young maid took a dagger from one of their bodies, lay together on the ground, and the blood flowed from them into the river.
What's the rest? I'm all ear.
How once he fell in love with a fragile young maid, whom he saw with her sisters in a field. But he was afraid the
Would you teach me more?
Certainly.
I'm interested.
All right. Now, good luck. See you later.
Would you teach me more?
Certainly.
I'd like to.
First, you have to.
Well, will you teach?
Certainly.
I want to achieve.
All right. Now, see you later. Farewell.
have some rest.